Hey there, everybody. Erica here from Feel Your Core. We're here with part 2 of Kickstarting Your Fitness. So we're going to start with these heel raises. The legs are in parallel, so think the number 11. And again, I'm on this, it's a standing foot bar, but you can totally use a 2x4. You can use a stair. You can use a step. If you got some stall bars, you can use a rung on your stall bar. We just want to make sure the balls of the feet, so the metatarsals, the bones underneath the toes, are on whatever you're using as your flat surface as you lift and lower. Remember, be mindful not to just pop into the front of your ankles or hyperextend the front of your ankles when you go into the plantar flexion. You want to make sure that's controlled. You want to still feel like the four corners of your feet. So the ball of the foot, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner heel, and the outer heel are all still connected. So now we go from parallel into an externally rotated position here. So thigh bone and hip socket externally rotated, rotating away from your center line as we lift and lower here. So I'm doing about, I think probably like somewhere between 8 and 12 heel raises. And I start them in the parallel, and then we do external rotation, and then we do internal rotation. You don't need a lot of these to really feel the work. And a reminder that as I lower down, I'm thinking about sending the inside line of my heel like down, like into, the dirt, or thinking about sending the inside line of my heel underneath, my level surface that my the balls of my feet are on. So you can see here, I have moved into the internal rotation. So internally rotating that thigh bone in the hip socket. And often, I've just noticed with like my client base, internal rotation can seem really hard for folks. So you may do a couple of these and you'll look down and you'll realize, oh my gosh, I'm back in parallel. And if that happens, no problem, just reset. But again, remember to reset from thigh bone and hip socket, not from the knee, not from the ankle. All right. We want to work close, to the trunk of the body with that rotation. So at this point, you should definitely be feeling some heat, through the soleus and the gastroc. And then after this, we just flip sides of that lower limb and we're doing heel raises. Okay. So as you can see, I lean against a wall and I send my feet out in front of me and I'm just focusing on, so this is dorsiflexion. So I'm pulling, and I like to say the top of my foot towards my knees or towards my hips. And then right there, I'm touching my tibialis anterior. I call it shin meat. That's right, shin meat. So you should start feeling your shin meat warm up, okay? And then we're on to the next. So we're going into our ab section here. So last week we did supine marching, okay? So now we're just going to add an element of mind body to this. So we're going to do a dead bug. So you'll see me just start with the legs here, okay? So I'm making sure that my arms are lined up. My knees are over the hip joints, and you can see how I'm just extending one leg straight up at a time, right? So this is the beginner level, just straight up. Okay. And then you can see basically every 3, I start to lower. So now I'm at a little bit more of an angle, but what I'm really focused on right now, which is why I'm not using the arms, is making sure that as I go lower, that, I still can feel my abdominals engaged and that my pelvis is not tipping forward so that my back is arching too much. And it's also not tipping back for me to press my back into the ground, because we don't want that. All right. And then here, I feel like I'm at a place where my pelvis is stable. So I decided to add the arms, right? So the true dead bug here. And if at any time I feel, I start fatiguing and I feel that pelvis start to shift, then I would, first, I would stop the arms, and then I would start to lift those legs a little bit higher in their range of motion to get back to a place where I can have my abs engaged and a stable pelvis. You see, this is a big mind body challenge for me. I've been doing this exercise dead bug for years, and that's why I love it so much, because it's still challenging. All right. Next, we're going to go into a double leg stretch. Okay. So this is from the Pilates series of 5. I chose this one because it looks a lot like the dead bug we just did. Okay. Everything's moving together though, right? Everything went up and then came in at the same time. Again, you can see every 10, I'm starting to reach those legs out a bit further. Since that was me resetting because I lost my pelvis. Okay, so I had to bring it in, take a breath cycle, and you'll see me do that. And I highly encourage you to do that because everything's moving at once, right? And the levers are long. It's harder, right? It's more challenging. I felt myself losing my forward fold, and I felt my pelvis shifting, so I just changed it up a little bit. Next, we're going to go into a standing external rotation and internal rotation with a single leg balance. Okay. So last week, right, we were sideline for the external rotation and internal rotation, but now we're going to add a balance challenge to it. So you always want to make sure you're balanced before you start moving. So the motion I'm doing now, I'm starting with the dumbbells in the front and taking them, rotating my upper arm bone, my humerus to open. So this is the external rotation. Okay. This is incredibly challenging. I told you I have that the little tick of the harder something gets, the more I giggle and laugh. And again, you're going to see here, this is quite challenging. For some reason, always as I get to the end of my reps, like I start to lose it. So thankfully I kept it together there. And then we're going to, again, so be stable on the other foot. Remember, different side, different body, right? So off bat here, you can see, I'm making sure I got my balance. Whoa, Nelly. There she is. Come on, sister, pull her together. Before I start my arm movements, don't start moving your arms, okay, until you got your balance. All right. So now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm starting with the arms that are like out, and then I'm rotating towards my midline. I'm crossing my wrist. So what I'm trying to do is switch which wrist is on top each time, but it is incredibly challenging while also trying to count and to not fall on my face. So join the fun. All right. Come on. The water is warm. Come on in the pool with me and we'll have some fun here. All right. So again, focusing on rotating the arms towards my midline, crossing those wrists for my internal rotation. So we're almost there, sister. Can you hold on? Are you holding on with me? We made it. Excellent. All right. So again, step up from last week. Last week we did, hello, balance. Last week we did a quadruped hip circle, femur circle. Okay. So this time I'm adding a lunge to it. Okay. So I'm just a reverse lunge. So I can go straight down and straight back up. There's that balance, right? So this is now the third exercise that we're working on the balance here. All right. And in the first 6 on each side, I'm going forward with my circle. So you see me chamber that knee and then circle it out and around and back in. Yep. Balance. And so we keep going here. Pull that knee up, chamber, find the balance, and then we circle. So I do try not to like keep circling. So here we go. We're reversing. So still the reverse lunge, but this time I put the knees next to each other so that I can kick from the glute back and make this circle. And so that's something I was really thinking about here is like, how do I keep my balance? And you can see I forget every once in a while. I'm like, oh, you're not going forward. You're supposed to be going back. So up, hopefully get those thighs together and I can execute that balance and then that circle. You want to think of one of the things, get on up, girl. One of the things we want to think about here is pulling those inner thighs together. Okay. Pull those inner thighs together towards the midline. That will help with the balance. Okay. Yes, we made it through one side. Let's go on the other side. Here we go. So this is another exercise. It's so good. We're not using weight, right? Because we're challenging balance, right? We are, stepping back in a lunge, and that lunge itself is a balance thing. Then we're going on one leg, and then we're executing that femur circle, and that's for mobility. All right. So I'd highly encourage we're still warming up. Okay. So not necessarily needing any weights here. It is challenging enough with your body weight. Okay. And so I'm thinking here, I make that circle. I inhale down, I exhale, lift, draw the abs in and circle, inhale, and exhale to lift, maybe an inhale circle so that I exhale to bring those legs back together. So now we're going to do our final 6 on this leg, sending the circle back first. So we're going to push from the glute, circle it around and come in. And again, notice here, I don't have a huge range of motion on these femur circles. One is because definitely, some of my mobility on either side, is challenging, right? And I also have to keep this, this balance going. But right, doing cars, which are controlled articular rotations, is better. So moving your joint through its range of motion, it's better to do it, period, even if you don't feel like you have a lot of range, than not do it at all. Okay. The more you do it, the better it gets, right? And you can I am working on this balance. I'm almost done. Yes, I told you that last one's the hardest. We made it. Okay. So now here comes the squat, curl, and press. Okay. So this was in last week. All right. We're putting it as kind of like the starter of really getting it going here. So you'll notice at first I'm starting, and basically my hips are coming through from the squat as I curl, and then the press is its own thing. All right. So I do this for the first 6 reps. All right. So that we're getting it. We're like, okay, I can push this weight overhead. We're good. All right. And there it is, right? There's 6. So now we're going to power it up. Okay. So that means by the time my hips are forward, I want those arms over my head and up. Yes. And so it is inhale, exhale, power. Yes. Inhale, squat, exhale, curl, press. So we're just speeding it up a little bit. You do not have to do this. You can continue to take it slow. You can continue to piece it out, squat, curl, and press. But if you got it in you, we're going to just take that power up, get that heart rate going. Next up here, we're taking it down to the floor. We're going to do a chest press, and then we're going to do a skull crusher. All right. So this is a chest press, working the pecs here, and then we're working the triceps on that skull crusher. It's a tricep extension. So you can see here, I'm playing around a little bit with the way I want my arms and hands to be in position at the top. I settled on, even though I kept changing it a little bit, right? I changed it there, is that I come up from this press, palms towards each other, elbows bend, elbows extend, and then I come down and those palms are facing forward again. And for me, that was just the most efficient way. So again, breathing, exhale to lift, inhale, exhale for that tricep extension, inhale down, exhale, press, inhale, bend the elbows, exhale, extend the triceps, and inhale down. Okay. So we're always breathing with our movement, and then that's how we flow, right? And then, those abdominals are muscles of inspiration and expiration. So they'll move with you. All right. So we made it through that. Let's hit the back, right? We hit the front. Let's hit the back. So we're going to do a bent over row with rotation here. Okay. I like putting my other arm that doesn't hold a weight down. Just for me, it helps me keep kind of this line. And so what I'm thinking of is, as I pull, so I'm leading with my elbow, trying to pull it, kind of behind me, and then I pull, and then I want to feel my ribs start to rotate as that elbow pulls. And I am trying to keep a straight line from the quote non-working arm, which is the arm in front of me, with the elbow once it goes high. Okay. It is more challenging than it looks. And then even me watching this video back as I'm doing the voiceover, you can see that arm pressed out a little bit. So for me, that's a learning note, and I'm going to work on that the next time I do this exercise, trying to keep it straight down as the other one lifts. Okay. And again, I'm trying to feel the pull of the elbow. And then when my ribs want to turn, then I allow those ribs to turn. I'm trying my best to keep my head on my spine, so I'm not looking too far forward. I'm not letting my head hang too far down, so that as, I rotate around my rib cage, my, the line of my body wants to go with me. So I exhale to pull and rotate, inhale back home. Exhale, wring out my ribs like a little dishcloth. You can tell I do not have as much active rotation on this left side. And so this is something I'm actively working on. And this is also why I like to do like unilateral stuff, so we can kind of see what's doing what on what side. That is it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me. Excellent. Well done. You finished part 2. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Help us reach more people. Bye.